My name is Chase Boatright. I'm from Sebastopol, Mississippi, and my company is Clearview Window Cleaning.
How did you first connect with Mike West?
So I followed him for years on Facebook, and he made a post about the obstacles that he faced whenever he bought the dealership in Forest, Mississippi, and the success that he had overcoming those obstacles. And I had just started a window cleaning business and decided to go door to door. And I was very anxious and nervous about that, and so I just sent him a message and asked him a few key pointers on how I could overcome the obstacles in door-to-door sales. And he gave me some ways to overcome that, and we ended up, he was kind enough to give me a phone call. He offered a phone call, and we talked for about an hour on how I could overcome objections, how I could sell, and all of that type of stuff. So he was just very, very kind whenever I reached out to him, and he responded and took time to answer my questions.
What stands out the most to you about Mike?
Probably his confidence in his ability to sell. I believe that he believes that he could sell anybody, and he can. And so his confidence and ability to sell, and he's kind. So those two things really stood out to me, his kindness and his confidence in his ability to sell. Those two things really stood out to me.
How would you describe Mike's professionalism and communication style?
I think it's natural, meaning that what you see is what you get. I don't feel, and me and him do not have a deep relationship by any stretch, but I do not feel that there is an underlying man under who he is. I feel like that what you see is what you get. He's real, and I feel like that is something that can be appreciated, because that's something that is not found today very often. Usually there's an underlying person in a person, and I feel like what you see in him is what you get.
What is the overall impact Mike has had on your life?
He helped me to become more driven and more focused, and he in that short conversation, he helped me to be able to sell better. We had about an hour-long conversation, a few message exchanges, and there was a fire and determination that was put in me that was not there. I felt like that he lended me some of his drive, if that makes sense, through that conversation. I feel like that if you have a conversation with him, what comes out of him will get on you, and if you allow it, you'll be more driven. So I became more driven.
And how did that change look practically?
I had built a business prior that I had sold, and everything came to me, and I didn't have to go after it. And after I sold my first business, I decided to do the Clearview window cleaning, and the clients didn't just come to me. And so I made up in my mind that I had to go after them, but I didn't know how to do that. And so Michael really gave me the way in which I went after them. And so it helped me to go from being somebody that just waits for my phone to ring, somebody that waits for that message to come through, to somebody that'll go knock on a door or walk to a business and go get the client and close the client.
Can you go deeper on that?
I am naturally an outgoing person. I can talk to people. But knocking on somebody, doing door-to-door sales, knocking on somebody else's door gave me very, very bad anxiety, like crippling. It scared me to death. And this is naturally the reason that I reached out, because I had read his post about the dealership and the obstacles that he overcame, and I knew that he would have some insight even though he may have never done door-to-door sales, on how to overcome the fear. And he said this one statement to me that really changed my viewpoint. He said, "You've got to hate being broke more than you hate knocking on that door." And that one statement done something to me. Just that one statement. You got to hate doing that hard thing more than you do hate that thing in your life that you're trying to overcome. You know, whether it's paying a bill, whether it's that marriage problem, just whatever the problem is, you've got to do the hard thing first. You got to hate what you're in more than you hate what you're doing. And so I started hating the position that I was in more than I hated knocking on that door. And now I went from not being able to knock on a door or talk to people at their door. I can knock on any door now. And I'm not saying I'm the best closer in the world, but there's definitely been progress made.
Financially speaking, how would you quantify that progress?
Ministry is my priority, and I'm going a lot. So this is just a few day a week deal that I'm trying to grow. But we went from doing, I think we done 1,000 in January to 5,000 last month, and it was all knocking doors, just a few days a week. I mean, it's like legitimately this is just a part-time. I'm not trying to scale it to $1 million deal. It's just a new adventure that I do 1 or 2 days a week because I travel so much with ministry, and so. Like I think it was last week, I went to Starkville, Mississippi, and I knocked a whole neighborhood in 2 days, and closed like $3 or $4 grand worth of work. And you're going in there and you knock on every door. You knock on every door. You talk to as many people as you can, and you overcome any objection that they might have. And I honestly, I could not do that before I talked to Michael.
And so overall, how did working with Mike impact your business?
Working with him impacted my business because it made me better in sales. It took me from not being able to talk to people to now I can talk to people. I can knock on that door. I can sell. Before I couldn't overcome objections. Whenever somebody would tell me no, I would just say, okay, thank you. Now I can overcome the objection, and I can close, and before I couldn't.
Would you recommend Mike to others, and if so, why?
Yes, I would, and the reason that I would is one, he's honest, he's direct, and he's not just going to tell you something just to tell you something. Meaning that I don't know how deep to go into this. He told me something on the phone. He said I am a natural confident man. He said in this area you're not. He said but competence breeds confidence. And it's those little phrases and that forthright that stick out and mean something. You know what I'm saying? And so I would, just because he's not going to tell you what you just necessarily want to hear, but what he tells you will stick with you.
What sets Mike apart from others?
In my opinion, from the outside looking in, there was of course, he was willing to share his story on a social media platform. A lot of people are not willing to do that. And so those stories, like the obstacles of the dealership and how he overcame every obstacle and now how he's winning, a lot of people are not willing to do that. A lot of people are not willing to put themselves out there that they had obstacles and they overcame those obstacles. And so I think that's vulnerability would probably be one part that sets him apart. He was willing to share his obstacles and how he overcame those obstacles. And then two, he was kind enough to take time with somebody he didn't know.
What is your message to someone that might want to learn from Mike?
I would tell you that Michael is an expert. I don't feel like just in sales coaching, but I feel like that he would be in life coaching as well. And so I would reach out. I would reach out, and he's full of knowledge and wisdom, and it has personally helped grow my life and my business. And I would make the phone call, and I'd reach out, and I'd let him coach me.
Describe Mike West in one word.
Real. Real.
Who is Mike West to you?
Michael West, to me, is life-changing. He changed my life. I went from not being able to knock on a door, crippling fear and anxiety. And I'm not a fearful person. I don't really deal with anxiety. To being able to get out in any neighborhood, knock on any door, talk to anybody, and overcome most objection. And it all came from about a 45-minute conversation on the phone with Michael West.